All right, so today what I'm going to do is show you how to start your US map project. First, I'm going to log into Canvas and go into your digital media course. From there, I will go into assignments, and then under assignments, choose Project US Interactive Map Part 1. Under Part 1, go ahead and choose that link there to download the PNG file, and then you will download this PNG file uh, to your downloads folder on your Mac. From here, you will then go into Photoshop and choose File, Open. And then what you're going to do is navigate to the downloads folder, find your US PNG map, and open that up. You'll notice there's a lot of extra area here that we need to crop out. So I'm going to come over and get my crop tool and switch the ratio here to 8.5 by 11 and 300 pixels per inch. And then what we will do with that is instead of actually trying to crop it, I'm going to crop it to where it's actually going landscape, and then I can crop this out and choose to allow a little bit of space over here to the far right, as well as a little bit over and through here. You can kind of fine tune its location and then press return or enter and to accept that. Okay, I will go ahead and name that layer US map and then lock it. That way we don't accidentally mess it up down the road. I'll create a new blank layer. This new blank layer, I'm going to fill it with my foreground color, which in my case happens to be white, and that's what I want to fill it with. So to do that, I'm going to go layer, new, background from layer, and then it's going to convert that layer that we created, fill it with white, and make it into my background. From here, I'll go ahead and create another new layer by clicking that new layer icon down in the bottom of the layers palette. And this new layer icon, I'll move it up to the top, and I'm going to go ahead and name it Washington, because we'll go ahead and start with Washington State here. And then I'll select back on my US map layer. I'll select my magic wand tool. It's usually nested underneath the quick selection tool. You'll see there it has the magic wand tool. And then I will select inside of the state of Washington. You can see that it's done that now. I will then select the Washington State layer, choose a nice bright color, and then press Alt or Option and Delete at the same time. That will then fill it. Command D to deselect, D for default colors, T for text tool, and then I will choose a nice font that's easy to read, something like Myriad Pro's just fine. And I'm going to choose something more of a reasonable size, something like 10-point font. And I'm going to click and drag out and then type Washington. Now, one of the things I noticed right now is it's in all caps. So I'm going to select it, come up here to my character palette, and then right here, I'm going to deselect the all caps. That way it doesn't make it all caps. I will then select and drag that into the state, making sure that I do not have it going over any of the actual boundary lines to it. From there, I will select and do another text layer and click and drag that out. And this time I will type Olympia. Olympia is simply, if I was to come back here and Google US map with capitals and find a US map with capitals, I could find something like this one here and take a look at it. And it has a nice clear map here of the actual states with the capital names. I can click to see it larger as needed. And I can see, hey, there's Olympia right there. Boom, just like what we're looking for. Olympia. And I've got it typed there. Select my move tool, move it in place. I will then have that top layer selected, press shift to select the bottom, come here to my little menu and choose new group from those three layers. In this new group, I'm going to call it simply Washington. And now I've done one. 49 more to go the exact same way. If needed, for instance, some of the states you will need to type out. If you start typing out, you'll notice that some of them probably won't fit in the state without going over those boundaries. So what you might have to do is with the text tool, have that text box go outside some of those corners, and you might have to rotate it and then adjust the placement of it within the state. And I don't think that's spelled correctly, but we can check back on our other. The other thing you might have to do is when you're doing certain selections here, come through with your magic wand, you create a selection here, but I might have to hold the shift key down and do an additional selection such as the Upper Peninsula to Michigan to make sure that when I fill it, if I had a new layer here and filled it, that I would fill both at the same time. Other small areas, you might have to come in and actually use a paintbrush. So some areas like here, if I was on New York State and trying to do that, it might be very tough to get much of that. You see how I get everything selected instead of actually just Long Island. So you might have to just fill that in and fill that with your color to it, and then actually come back, deselect, Command D, and then maybe come in with a brush, B for brush, nice small brush, and actually just paint in through here to get Long Island or some of these other little small areas that are needed to add the additional color into to make sure that you get all of that state that exact same color. So that's how you could do that. Also, if you run out of room for certain states when you go into the names, especially on the East Coast, you will have to simply come in through and with your text tool and come out here into the Atlantic Ocean and type things like this. Give yourself plenty of room out here. We'll come back in Flash and then add arrows from the state and capital name to where those are located. So just put them out here as needed in the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. Make sure that when you save this, you save it out as a PSD so that you have that extension of a PSD. I'd probably call it something like US map, and then save it to where you're going to know, either desktop or documents. Make sure that you are saving all the layers to it and that you keep yourself organized here, definitely by folders of states as well as regions, okay? Hopefully that will get you through the first part.